Lesson 1-6, Relations. Essential question. What are the 4 different ways to represent a relation? Our vocab words are relation, domain, and range. What a relation is a set of ordered pairs. This is something that you should be familiar with. Ordered pairs represent locations on a coordinate plane. They have an x-coordinate and a y-coordinate. The domain is all of the first numbers in the ordered pairs. So it's all of the x values. And then the range, of course, is all of the second numbers in the ordered pairs, which would be the y values. So domain are the x values and range the y values. Okay. This next slide is a review of graphing, just to make sure that you remember how to graph ordered pairs. Please remember that we graph x coordinates first, y coordinates second, and the x-axis is horizontal. I am going to write a letter by these points. The point 3, 2, if I start at the origin, the first number is 3, positive on the x-axis moves to the right. So I go to the right 3, I don't put a dot yet, I look at the second coordinate or the y value of 2, positive 2 is up 2 on the y-axis, so I put in my point right here, that location is 3, 2, and I'm going to label it with the letter A next to it. My next ordered pair is 2, -1, positive 2 means I'm going to go to the right 2 for my x-coordinate. -1 for y is down 1. So 2, -1, label with the letter B. C is -1, -3. On the x-axis, an x-coordinate of -1 means you go to the left one, and then y-coordinate -3, down 3, -1, -3, label it with C. 5, 3 will be D. Positive 5 means right 5. Positive 3, up 3. Label it with letter D. Letter E, -4, 3. So I go left for my -4, but then my 3 is a positive, so I go up 3. -4, positive 3 is E. And last, letter F, -2, -4. Going to go left 2 for the -2, down 4 for the -4. Letter F. Okay, now the key to this section is to be able to express a relation in a variety of ways. One of the ways to express it is as a table, another is a graph, the third is a mapping, and fourth is by describing its domain and range. Now a table, you should be familiar with a T-chart table. It looks like this. And you take each ordered pair, the first one is 3, 1. The x-coordinate is 3. Its corresponding y-coordinate is 1. So you just fill them in the table. 4, 2, 3, 5, and -2, 2. There's my table. To graph those ordered pairs, just like we reviewed on the last slide, 3, 1, right 3, up 1, 4, 2, right 4, up 2, 3, 5, right 3, up 5, and -2, 2, left 2, up 2. There's my graph. Now the mapping is probably completely new to you. What we do in a mapping is we write all of the x coordinates and all of the y coordinates in these oval shapes. Now, how it's different, a mapping is different from a table is, if you see the same number repeated, you don't write it twice in the mapping. So you can see I wrote 3, 4, I didn't write the 3 again, I wrote the -2. 1, 2, 5, and I don't write the 2 again. Now, I have to map each of my ordered pairs. So the first ordered pair was 3, 1, so the 3 maps to the 1. The second ordered pair was 4, 2. The third one was 3, 5. So I need to connect my 3 with an arrow to the 5. And my last one, -2, 2, I connect my -2 to the +2. So you see that I've got 4 arrows representing my 4 ordered pairs. Now the importance in this mapping is that it explains to us the relationship between those values, and we'll be talking about functions coming up, and the mapping and the way the arrows are drawn plays a role in determining if a relation is a function. Now the domain and the range, those are simply from the mapping. 3, 4, and -2 are the numbers in your domain, and in your range 1, 2, and 5, because remember we said the domain would be all of the x coordinates in your relation, and the range would be all of the y coordinates in your relation. And you don't repeat them. You don't repeat them like you do in the table. If the same number occurs more than once, you just write it once in your domain, once in your range. Okay, so those are the 4 different ways that we're going to be expressing relation. Here's another one for more practice. So the table again, -4, 1, 2, -3, 2, 5, 1, -1. Graphing those, -4, 1, 2, -3, 2, 5, and 1, -1. Our mapping, remember we don't repeat in our mapping. We've got our 2 ovals, -4, 2, and 1. Those are the 3 values that are in the domain. Those are the 3 different x values that I see. Then in my range, I see 4 different numbers. 1, -3, 5, and -1. It's important that you recognize in this range that a positive number is different from a negative number. So 1 and -1, those are 2 different numbers. So in my domain, the 2 repeated, I did not repeat it though. The range, they all occurred separately. Now connecting my mapping, please don't forget to draw your arrows. -4 to 1, 2 to -3, 2 also maps to 5, and 1 to -1. The number of arrows in your mapping has to match the number of ordered pairs that you started with, or the number of dots that you've got on your graph. Okay, you're ready to write your summary. The 4 ways to represent a relation are, please look back at your notes and write a complete sentence or 2 describing what the 4 ways are. And here's your homework assignment for day 1. It's not very many problems. Please make sure that you take your time and write out all 4 of the different ways that we describe our relations.